Welcome to Dice in Mind, a podcast hosted by Brad Brown and Jason Kaufman to explore the intersection of life, games, science, music, philosophy, and creativity through interviews with leading creatives. All are welcome in this space.
I know that everyone's read the title, and we'll get to talking about our topic here shortly. This is our second to last episode of the year.
Mhm.
This will be our last episode where it's just you and I, one of the rare ones of the year where it's just you and I. So it's always fun we always love having guests, but it's always interesting where we don't, and it's just you and I
Sometimes just to riff. Yeah.
And as we just talked before we hit record, sometimes, and in this case there are certain things where we've already prepped to talk about it, but we haven't told each other kind of some of the topics and things.
Right.
Because we kind of like to surprise each other with banter, and it helps to stir the convo.
Yep.
Very tertiary to the topic. We've been broadening our social media presence just because of the nature of what's going on out on X, and we've been broadening our blue sky footprint. And I was looking, and I saw our friend Michael Dismuke posting.
Yeah.
And he was posting about dice mechanic stuff today. And maybe this should be more of a Loon Cafe topic.
Oh, I haven't even seen this today yet.
Yeah. Yes. So I'm going to bring this up.
Okay.
I'm going to bring this up to start because it's RPG related.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest with you, talking about dice mechanics and dice rolling it's always a warm topic to me.
Same here.
And the question he asked was a couple questions. I'm gonna do it as
I know where you're going.
I'm gonna pose it as a 1A.
I'm
gonna do this as a 1A, 1B.
Okay.
So thank you, Michael. 1A. Do you prefer to roll one dice or multiple dice? And then 1B is, do you prefer the GM rolling, you rolling, both rolling, or no dice? And my answers to this, just because for me, when I'm looking for my own means of therapy at the table, I'm sitting down. Like now, we just played a couple days ago. I had to get in on the end because I had some guests here, but you played with some friends.
Yeah.
And
we had Dr. Aaron Peterson and Mr. Brian Colstead, good friends of ours. Yep.
Yep. So I was able to join in for the last 20 minutes or so. So my character was able to get introduced into the story.
Yeah, that was a good introduction too.
So we're playing Star Trek Adventure 2nd Edition. And why I bring that up is because we're playing in the 2D20 system. So
right.
And why I bring that up because there's dice involved. I prefer having physical dice.
Yes.
I prefer rolling as well as having the GM roll if they need to as part of it.
Okay.
And what I said on the response to his message to his
Blue Sky post, right? Yeah.
Blue Sky post was, there's nothing to me. I don't mind rolling one die, but there's nothing to me about rolling a die and hearing them. I can't say clank because there are a lot of times
there is a sound to the rolling of game dice that is a beautiful special thing.
And even if they're plastic, if I have metal, if they're epoxy, if they're acrylic, whatever they are, when they I'm going to use the term clink.
Yeah.
When they clack together, whatever the case is.
When they clack.
When they clack together, looking to see what that is. And I remember you rolling for, I want to say it was command and security, was it? I think.
I think so.
Yeah, command and security. I had a 14, so I had to roll under 14. Rolling the 2 die and seeing if I was under 14. I liked the idea of rolling myself and seeing if I made it under 14. My character, my roll. That's my my preference in that game. I don't know about other games. I think when it comes to like 3D6, I like rolling because I like to see if a stunt comes up. Other games, it's going to depend on the environment.
One of my favorite things about the Genesis dice system from Fantasy Flight Games / Edge Studios, their studio, is because you're rolling a dice pool, it just has such a sweet, complex sound to it. Every time you roll, there's so much going on in the tray.
It
Yeah,
sounds like you're in the Alps and the avalanche is coming.
pretty much.
Oh no, here it comes.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, I mean, but that too. I mean, there is a complex, there's a multi dice roll there.
right.
You have some where you again you might just be rolling one d20 or one something, one d6, one d12, whatever the case may be. I mean, you have some. We were talking with um, you know, how who are we talking to where they were using a d6 or d12? Was it Al?
Al. Yeah, Al
Yeah,
Spader,
yeah,
Ascensions, right?
yeah. Call it to Al.
Yeah.
At the end of the year. Um, so yeah, so it's gonna depend. I mean, I'll be honest with you. The least the least satisfactory die dice roll for me is a D4. Let's be honest. I mean, the try
Oh, it doesn't even sound right.
no,
Yeah,
no, but
that's
okay,
that's
but
very good observation.
I threw you a curveball by bringing this up right at the
This
start.
no, this
But
is I mean, if I might answer, I would agree with everything you just said in terms of preference. Everything. And now that and I'd add the codicil, now that we've talked this through and it's required me to think about it, uh, I guess I really do prefer or at least more enjoy rolling a dice pool than a single die. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy the sound of a single D20, but
mhm,
there's something lovely, like you said, about 2D20.
mhm,
There's something lovely about 3D6 or more, like I'm thinking West End games.
mhm.
There's something lovely about a dice pool from Genesis. So I don't know that I have any real preference over the number, but maybe I don't know. Maybe it's the complexity of the clacking. I don't know. But I think they're all sweet sounds to me, but I like a pool of two or more. There's just something, I don't know. It sounds like I don't know. There's adventure, there's life in the
And
tray.
there are so many cool dice towers out there, but I've never used
I've
one.
never
And I like now I haven't used the dice tray. When we're here, I will just roll it on the
I
table.
I have a nice
Um,
little wood one, but I like rolling.
yes, I
Yeah.
like for me, it's a tactile thing.
Yeah.
For me, I like, you know, there's I'm I have a thing where I like dice pools, but on the flip side, I like some simplicity to it.
Hmm.
But there's something about a dice pool and being a data nerd where
Right.
you're, and we've talked about this in the past, so we have other topics to consider. But I think this is an interesting topic. It would be funny next time we have like Michael or someone on another topic just to sidebar on this someday
Yeah, yeah. Because
to
then,
talk about
then, th-
this.
then you throw on the math, and I mean light math, but then you throw the math on top of the statistics of okay, let's add all the modifiers. Doesn't matter what the game calls it, right?
Hmm.
Whether it's an attribute or a trait or a skill or a mod or an advantage, they're all just mods.
Yes,
And so it's fun to have that element then on top of it. I know I am with you shockingly 100%.
not so much. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, we always joke that we come from diverse yet similar backgrounds, but there's a
Yes.
lot of we're very diverse yet very similar.
Well,
Um,
you always say, right, brothers from different mothers.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
really what it is. But in many cases, we have you know
Stand target, don't read your texts.
yeah. Sorry, damn it. Here's
So outed.
you know
So
what's so
outed on the air.
no that's so funny is that I blocked them
Mm.
on. I turned my phone is off as you could tell you didn't hear
Nope. Nope.
it, but it doesn't turn them off when I'm in Zoom. And I had I
Oh,
had an automation set up because I run on a Mac
oh, that's
where
interesting.
when Zoom comes on, it's supposed to
Oh, like
mute.
oh, I didn't know you like a macro. I didn't know you did that. I didn't even
Yeah,
know
I had
you.
an automation set up, but
Oh,
I
that's
must have
cool.
I must have inadvertently
Sweet.
turned it off.
I,
So
j- I just ignore them. Oh, yeah, okay.
yeah.
So if we might transition then, so this is a great setup because, as you said, it is as this drops. as this drops, it is December 16. Uh, Winter here in northern climes, certainly in the States and in North America. And it is the holiday season, just writ large.
Mhm.
We're not even going to get into that, but we're post Thanksgiving and
Yep.
we're approaching all the winter, like the actual winter dark night holidays, which is lovely. And what we have done for several years now is talk about mental health at the table this time of the year every year. In fact, we're in our fourth year of the podcast. We've been doing this every December since the second year of the podcast.
Yep.
Um, and and it's a wonderful opening to the episode you've provided, Brad, in terms of the joy, the sense of satisfaction, the familiarity, the warmth, as you put it so well, of the sound of dice, right,
Yeah,
rolling.
there's just something, it just, for me, you know, we've had some heavy episodes related to this topic in the past. It's been a heavy year for all of us in so
Hmm.
many different ways. Let's be honest. I mean, if you haven't had a heavy year, bless you for not having that.
Yep.
Everyone I've talked to has had it in one way or another.
Yep.
Um,
And you and I have had some serious stuff happen in totally unrelated ways in our
yeah.
own lives for the past year or two.
And so I think we talked about this, and then I'm going to leave it to you because you said you wanted to kind of kick it off, and we're gonna leave me in the dark so we could kick it off, to kind of spur convo. But I think we kind of wanted to have this kind of end this year's type of discussion in kind of more of a positive type of framework
And
in a way.
yes, and with some thoughts, some guidance about that of
Yeah,
looking reality in the face, but then moving forward.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So So first, as we do every year, we need to start and we'll end with the proviso. Uh, where we're going is in no way a therapeutic relationship, right? There's nothing professional here. It's just a couple of guys dinking around, sharing some thoughts because we care about our audience. The fact that one of them is a licensed psychologist still doesn't make this anything special or treatment,
And one of them is definitely not.
right? So that said, let's talk for a bit, and here's what I want to spring on you, which
Mhm.
is just so congruent with your beautiful opener and the notion of warmth rolling the dice. I'm I'm going to be thinking about that when we're done this evening and like for the next few days. So thank you. I think that's such a good way to frame it. Let's talk about that for a while. So this time of year, we know statistically, we know from the research, it's difficult. It's difficult for a lot of people. Yeah, the pandemic is theoretically over. COVID's theoretically over, but of course it's still around. And the reality is that even though we are what is 20 end of 2024, even though we are a year or two out of it, maybe not, even though the economy in some ways is going gangbusters as we
Mhm.
record this. The reality, the fact of the matter is that for the typical individual, for the typical family, things are potentially really hard. And we don't mean financially necessarily, just this time of the year, after all of the challenges, after prices in the stores, just all of this stuff, lots of people are struggling and are going to be struggling this time of year. We talk about this every December. Now, what can tabletop role-playing games offer us? Well, I would argue, I think you'd agree, in little bits and pieces quite a lot. So here's a frame for us to consider for a little while for this episode. So let's think about all of our, and I use the royal R, right? We, all of us
Mhm.
together here. There's a community listening, recording, etc., playing, whatnot. Let's think of our favorite games. Let me give you just a handful, half a dozen games, rapid fire, and I think reminders they can provide for us. Okay, let's start with sci-fi, because it's us. Let's start with sci-fi through a lens. What does it teach? Star Wars, what does it teach? Ultimately, good always vanquishes evil. At the end of the day, there's going to be a silver lining. At the end of the day, there is something worth moving toward. And eventually, even if it happens after Palpatine zapped all the ships, all of your friends are going to show up. Right? Star Wars is it's the monomyth. There's a very clear message. There is a path forward. It
Hope.
won't be hope. Thank you. It won't be easy, but there's
Right.
hope and it will be realized. Star Trek. What does it
Boy,
offer?
there's more of us, Poe. There's more of us.
That's yeah, right. Star Trek, what does it offer? Sort of similar. But broader and less mythic. The world is going to get better. Things are going to get better. And think of momentum as a mod in STA and STA 2E. You just keep going. You have to believe that things are going to work out because if you stick in there long enough, they will. Okay, what else? Paranoia. Yeah, literally everyone is out to get you, and even the computer's trying to kill you. But there's an upside. You're probably going to get a new clone body, and you'll just keep moving forward. If you could see Brad, he keeps looking over his shoulder, which is, treatable. We could go on and on. Traveler, not seen as the fuzziest game, right? Warm and fuzzy, and yet there's a whole there's a whole universe seemingly to explore. Mongoose Pioneer, which I realize is probably like 2 years out, but I can't stop thinking about it.
I
What's the
know you
point?
can.
It's no, I can't. It's near future. It means we're going to expand as a species, we're going to expand and grow and be better as people. Let's switch into fantasy. D&D, right? The 800-pound gorilla in the room. With all the bloodshed, what can D&D offer us, right? Together, a party can accomplish anything. Through meeting challenges, whether head on or solving problems or puzzles, we level up. Pathfinder, same kind
Mhm.
of thing. You just might have to get through 6 APs to get to the end and realize the prize. But they are inherently optimistic, right? They're all about adventure and heroes. And we could go on and on, right? Al Spader's Sentience, another shout out to him, right? Uh, we just want to move towards something better. We want to build a world, right? Um, I'm thinking Genesis, the Android game, Under the Beanstalk and all that. Yeah, the world is a mess, absolutely a mess, but all of the necessary ingredients are present for the next age,
Yeah.
right? Tolkien, everything non-D&D built on that. Even right, even Edge Studios Midnight offers
Yes.
glimmers of hope. So you see where I'm going with this. So I'm not trying to be cheeky and I'm not definitely not trying to be Pollyanna-ish, but every just about every one of our tabletop role-playing games that we all enjoy playing, if we choose to recognize it and choose to focus on it, they demonstrate, they offer us really positive, optimistic pathways, just lessons in, yeah, things might be tough. Yeah, you might lose your sword. Sure, your Jedi might lose a couple appendages. Just saying, I know a guy, right? Whatever
Or you
happens,
might lose some throwing axes.
or you might lose a lot of throwing axes, right? But
Huh.
whatever it is, all of these games, whether it's XP or leveling up or promotions or moving on to the next adventure, right? That to me speaks well and importantly in terms of real life. And then if we throw in what you said, Brad, earlier at the top of the episode about the warmth of rolling the dice, of familiarity, of remembering that, yes, chance, fate, statistics, sometimes they can be capricious, much like when your Klingon warrior kept rolling poorly, right? But
Hmm.
still, right? Sometimes, like, it's like Commander Riker said in the Briar Patch. Sometimes you get the bear, sometimes the bear gets you. But
Hmm.
ultimately, if you keep rolling, there's always, like you said, there's hope, there's opportunity. And if you are sitting at the table, be it physical or digital, or hell, even over post, whatever that means, if you're doing that with a community of others, whether they're your closest friends or a bunch of people who have met up on Facebook, which, by the way, is apparently Twitter and Blue Sky for old people, right?
Mhm.
That matters. And so I think as we go into this holiday season when so many people we know are and will be struggling, that at maybe it's a superficial level, but I think at a deeply meaningful level, RPGs, tabletop RPGs, whatever their flavor, offer us something to feel better and to be better, whether solo or with others.
Let me, uh, really well put. And I think that you have hit on something. And I know other people are talking about this. So this
Mm,
is not what I'm going to talk about. I think what you have, I'm going to take what you've talked about and broaden it a little bit, just in the context of kind of the holiday season. Um, I I've watched less news over the past few weeks just because, um, for me, I will be honest with you, at night I have taken to, and you know me, I like, um, holiday music. And I like listening to, in many cases, I will listen to some traditional holiday music stuff that I grew up listening to, like with my grandparents, stuff from like
yep,
40s and 50s and
yep,
60s and
yep.
so on. But at night, I will put on, either instrumental holiday music
Bring on the
or,
brass.
yep, or orchestral stuff. I'm a
Yeah.
big fan of Canadian brass.
Yes.
For those that have ever, or Empire Brass, if you have never heard any of that, ping me or look up Canadian Brass. Ironically, Canadian Brass. Well, I won't get into that. I'll tell you later. Um,
Stay on target.
but Canadian Brass, phenomenal stuff. Favorite, one of my favorite albums of all time, Christmas from the Canadian Brass. Um, that to me is uplifting to me, and that actually, even after, um, but it's been a challenging year, I find, puts me in a joyful mood.
Yeah.
Um, Even not watching a lot of news, there was a lot of discussion the week before Thanksgiving and even going into Thanksgiving week about whether or not you can go and sit and eat with people or
Oh,
not eat with people based off of
family
voting,
politics.
family
Yeah.
politics, and so on.
Yeah.
I'm not here to offer an opinion on that.
Yeah.
Because I everyone's family situation is different. Neither of us are privy to any of that. No opinion. I bring that up only because as you're talking, my thought to myself is there a possibility of using games like this as a means during the holiday season of sitting people down? And again, the answer is yes. This is not a rhetorical question. Um, Putting a little bit of time together, finding a starter, grabbing a quick start,
Yes.
um, of something,
Such a good idea.
whether and finding a quick start of something simple. There's so many that are out there on Drive Through RPG. You can go to Green Ronin, Modifius. You can go to so many of these different places and grab one. Um, some of them are free, some of them are dollar. They're cheap and simple.
And this time of the year, so many sales, especially for PDFs.
So many sales.
Yeah.
Yes, unbelievable. Um, and preface everyone and say, you know what? If we're going to meet together, um, you know, you know, eh, diffuse the tension. We're going to sit down and we're going to play a game. The rule is we're going to talk about just the game, and
Yeah.
grab something like, there's a starter one. I think it's like $5 on Amazon. It's, from, uh, Matt Forbeck's Marvel Multiverse RPG,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
it's the it's a Deadpool one. So maybe not something you're going to play with the youngest of the guests,
But bring
but
your grandma, bring your grandpa. Let's roll some
yes,
dice.
yeah. Think of it, maybe not quite towards, Cards Against Humanity level type of gameplay, but, it's Deadpool, so you just never know where it's going to go. But it
Yeah.
has pre-gen characters. It's the size of a comic book. Um, it's
I
very inexpensive.
If I may interject a sec,
Yeah.
I think you make okay, so I don't know if this is on purpose, But I think what you're suggesting is really, really good. The notion of using a quick start with
Hmm.
pre-gens, whatever, however much or little you want, to take the onus off of you, whether you're a player
Yeah.
or the GM, because that's right. When someone's down, one of the hardest things so many of you out there know is just getting it started. The, don't do the heavy
I could get
lifting.
I'll get paralyzed as much as
Yeah.
any, and you know this. Take a quick start. Go ahead and say, you
Yes.
know what, folks? I don't normally lead a game, but we're all getting together as family. I'm willing to do it. If you're all willing to bear with me, we're going to
Yep.
play this game. I'm going to send you a couple documents to read. Print them off if you want, or just keep them on your phone or your tablet. Here's your character. I'll send you some notes over the next couple weeks, or we'll just get together and sit down. Or you know what? Over the holidays, since we all can't get together, we're going to do it over, like you said, we're going to do it over email. We were doing some of the pregame of our
Yep.
game over email.
Six parts of session zero I kept sending to you guys.
Yes,
Mm.
yes, and you did it, and like I mentioned to you, putting them in
Yeah.
threaded order so I can
Stacking them
reread.
really helped everyone, I think, including me.
Yes.
Yeah.
So to me, and in all honesty, reading those kept focus for me, and it reminded me that we had gameplay coming, and during the holiday gameplay, to me there was a little inner child going on there. We're like, okay, we're old, we don't get gifts anymore like we do as kids, but the
Yeah.
idea of playing a game at holiday time,
It just brings
whatever
joy.
holiday
Yep.
you might celebrate, it's still the end of the year. It's still cold out. It's in the Northern Hemisphere, for me culturally,
Yep.
that's just a
Yep.
time of year when we would be inside. And I
Yep.
still remember as a kid getting the red box starter set for D&D and playing the
Yeah.
solo adventure over and
That's cool.
over again. So using that as a means of potentially diffusing tension, and
Yeah.
could this be, and this is again rhetorical, this is rhetorical, could the prep work and the work you're doing like this, could there be some excitement there, and could that help you, could that be therapeutic for you as well? Maybe.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you've created the character or you're using a pre-gen, right? You can still feed off of their accomplishments. You can
Mm-hmm.
still, the whole point is to live vicariously through these adventures,
Yes.
right? And own it, enjoy it, and remember that no matter almost any tabletop RPG out there, like Brad said, like you said, the hope element, right? It's about ultimately being successful, right? Like one of the things, and then I'll stop. One of the things I've liked for so long about the Genesis dice pool, the dice mechanic, is the dice mechanic is tuned. So, and I'm using my terms here. The dice mechanic is tuned so that on average, rolls tend to be slightly successful, but with complications along the way.
Mm-hmm.
No truer words have been said about my life over the past 50 years. And so I find a deep resonance with that. Um, but like you said, we also just the warmth of the dice tray. I absolutely love that imagery.
I was just looking up something
As he
because
makes
I've
three purchases. Oh,
no. We'll get to that later.
okay. Oh.
But um I because I picked this up a while back and I want to see if this is the right one. Um First of all, if you're look and again, I'm not here to advertise. I only bring this up because for some of you, certain, holiday time of year, sometimes you think of certain types of movies or things like that.
Hmm.
Um, we've mentioned him a couple times. Al Spader came on a while back with Once Upon, the
Hmm.
storybook role playing game.
Hmm.
If you want to think of a different type of role playing game, um, Once Upon, a storybook RPG. Um, Reach out to Al. The book and everything is available at Drive Through RPG.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm. Yeah.
you could find Al if you need his contact info. You can reach out to us here. We'll send you to him. You could find
Yep.
him out on out on
Yeah, he's everywhere right now.
social media.
Sentience is really, or
Um,
I'm sorry, Once Upon, both of them are really making the rounds.
yeah,
Yeah.
I know that he loves talking about it. Al, I'm speaking for you, and I apologize in advance. You can flog me later. Um, if you need help setting something up, maybe for family or something for the holidays, I know he'd give you ideas.
Yep.
I know he would. Um, there is um, a Wizard of Oz role playing game that's out there. Um, you know, Oz, the it's a fantasy role playing setting. It came out. It's a by the author Andrew Kobe. You can get it out on Amazon. Um, and I know it's sitting out on Drive Through RPG as well. And the same
I
thing with Peter Pan.
I think
So
of like
I hope
NASA's The Lost Universe.
yes, there's
What
another one.
what about the solo what so I was just looking at it. I just lost it. Letters to the Stars.
Oh
Right?
yes,
Letters to the Stars by W.M. Eggers.
yes.
An epistolary RPG. There are just to your point, there are so many. Find your flavor. Look, if you're listening to this podcast, and thank you to the three of you as always, you
Hmm.
already know what you like to play. Mine it. Just be don't exert yourself. Just be open to the reality. Right? We are
Hmm.
asserting this is a fact. Be open to the fact that your favorite game provides an avenue for joy, provides an avenue for hope, provides an avenue for seeing vicariously that the potential is there for a much happier, better feeling next step.
And if you want some random person who you will probably never meet to tell you this, I'll tell you this right now. The game that you find interesting, someone that you know, some family member or someone may actually find it interesting too. So take
That's
the
right.
time
Yeah.
and, you know, use the quick start for the game you already play and use it as an opportunity to
Yes.
potentially, you know, give yourself something to do for holiday prep and use it to, you know, bring the family together over the holidays, bridge any potential um,
Discord.
discord that
Yeah.
may or may not
Yeah.
pop up.
That's right.
You know, let's be honest. We always talk about what Jace. What do you say at the end at the intro of our? You know, everybody is welcome at the table.
Yep.
And I think, you know, I know that these days for many, um, people don't feel they're welcome at other people's tables.
It's not about being right, it's about being well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know what? Open, if people aren't feeling comfortable at other people's tables, create your own and invite everybody.
Yeah.
Um, so again, you know,
To
I think I think it's just a matter of you know, take a moment this year in a year of what let's if you watch enough news is a year of enormous discord and
let us
um
all at the very, 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 very least.
mhm,
Let us all be grateful for the preponderance of diversity of tabletop RPGs.
mhm.
Even with some of the houses closing, even with the financial challenges of the pandemic, there are more and more different RPGs available at the close of 2024 than there have ever been in the history of humanity. And that's pretty cool.
I mean, yeah, go to if you were searching on Black Friday or Cyber Monday,
Hmm.
I imagine your eyes, you know, what did Austin Powers say? I've gone cross-eyed. Probably
Right,
at the sight of trying to
right.
pick stuff out.
This
So
is our bag, baby.
yeah,
Look, as we wrap this up again, this in no way constitutes psychotherapy or really any useful treatment of any kind.
right.
But but hopefully we've taken you along these past several minutes to give you something useful and positive to think about.
Yeah. So why don't we head over to Loon Cafe, even though uh I don't know how yeah, the lakes are probably frozen over for the most
Actually,
part.
as we're recording this a
Yeah,
couple weeks in advance, the lakes up north where I love so much, they're on social media, they're reporting they're all freezing over already. Yeah.
yeah. What
Yeah.
happened to the loon when they
The loons
is
migrate
do they south?
thousands of miles. Yeah. It's
Do
amazing.
they? South America?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's I gotta figure because because loons need distance to fly. They can't fly
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
ground zero. They're not like Harrier jets. They
Right.
have, you know,
Or at least to the deep south. I'll have to look that. I that's my ignorance. Probably shouldn't
you
even be
know.
recording this. Yeah.
No, that's fine. Because it's interesting because I know that because every year there's like at least one or two that end up getting here in the southeastern Wisconsin. There are twin lakes in Madison, which is the state capital, Lake
Yeah.
Winona and
Mendota and
Mendota
Monona. Yeah. Yeah.
and Monona. Thank you.
Monona, yeah.
And there's always a loon or two that get
That's cool.
caught as they're
Oh.
frozen, and
Oh,
they get
yeah.
caught in such a small area they can't fly because there's not enough room for them to launch.
And yeah, the so loons are, and they'll like right, I think their wings will frost up. So if you've ever seen a loon take flight,
Oh,
it is I mean, I've heard it and I've seen it.
how would Dr. Evil pronounce say it?
Evil?
No. How it is what is what how
I
would
don't
he
know where you're going with this.
what would Dr. Evil say? What would it look like if how would he say what would it look like if he saw a loon take flight?
I don't know.
If it's freshly shorn, how would he say it's what? Spectacular?
Oh, it's quite spectacular. Yeah,
There it
I
is.
actually,
You're trying to dance around
no,
it.
I didn't know where we were going with this, and I'm still not entirely comfortable with it. But uh uh but it is. I was going to say something to that effect. Watching a loon take flight
You
is
say lovely a lot, so I was trying to divert you from using the
well,
term lovely.
it's an amazing thing to see. It's
Oh, it
also
is.
super awkward. They
Mhm.
they they need a runway.
They do. They need a
Um
lot of lake to do it.
they do. They need and so it is difficult for their big birds. People don't realize they're big birds.
Mhm.
Um
They're gorgeous too. I mean, they're
Oh, in the sound, yeah. So anyways, I'm glad to be over at Loon Cafe now. Someday, maybe we'll open one.
So you said for me to go first because you
Yeah,
needed a couple minutes.
what's on your proverbial table?
Um, well, I will say that it almost seems like a yearly thing for me, just because of um, what is
Man,
it?
you are lucky my filter's kicking in. I don't know. Where are you going with this?
A yearly thing for me because of what is it? Bonus points or credit? I don't know what the term is at
Oh
Modiphius.
yeah. Yeah. Oh my God, do you rack up those points?
So
You're like a
cyber
Modiphius frequent flyer.
Black Friday comes around
Oh no.
and slash Cyber Monday. Um, and I was looking and um there wasn't a lot on, and they had a phenomenal sale. There just wasn't a ton that was out there that I
I mean,
really
you have a lot. You have what you want, basically.
right. The one thing that caught my attention was is they had dropped the prices of some of the Dune
Yeah, I
materials
saw that. I saw that.
exponentially
So what did you do?
low. So um I did something I thought I'd never do.
You didn't buy
Um
anything?
no, well, that I would never do. But using some credit, I did
Yeah.
pick up um the um what is it? I'm going to look at my thing. The Carino Collector's Edition core rulebook.
Oh,
Um
interesting.
yes, there was a book that I didn't have. A lot of the adventures that they had come out in like PDF form and so on, they had apparently put together into an adventure compendium, which I did not have, the Desert Planet Adventure Compendium, Volume
Did you
1.
order that one?
I did order that one.
Nice. Okay, cool.
And then the Masters of Dune Collector's Edition, and the Sand and Dust Collector's Edition, because those were just
Jeez, Brad.
well, I mean, I'll be honest with you, those all coming together
Yeah,
were so low.
that's really
I will
cool.
be honest with you, those four books
Yeah.
were under $100. Um,
Wait,
under $100.
after
Collector's
before hold on,
editions
but after you used your points?
before I used my
Jeez. Oh
points.
man, Brad. Oh, that's phenomenal.
Yes.
That's
Um,
phenomenal. Okay.
yes, before I used my points. And after using
Outstanding.
my points, all I really had to do was in effect pay shipping and just a little bit beyond that. So
Oh, well
I will
done.
not get myself in trouble at home, which is
Again,
paramount.
she doesn't listen, Brett. She doesn't
I know
listen.
that. I
All
know
right.
that. Well, I will get in trouble, but much less once I
Yeah.
show her the bill of sale.
Yeah, when the
Um,
box arrives, it's gonna be like, what did you do again?
yeah, and then I'll
Yeah.
have to show the bill of sale. It'll be less in trouble.
It does say, I mean, we need to keep talking like offline. We need to keep talking more about that because we haven't talked to you in a while and we've never played, not yet.
Mhm.
And I do remain curious.
Yes.
Yeah.
And obviously, we've talked Dune more so with Michael again. I bring up Michael Dismuke.
Yep.
Um, when we've talked about, houses and all that with the whole Klingon thing and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
I did look at now that Jim is involved with the Fallout franchise, as we've come to find out,
Yeah,
did
that's
that.
curious. Yeah, the
Um,
the franchise. Yeah.
but the Fallout 2D20 stuff is pretty well sold out on Modifius's website.
That's cool.
I
Hmm.
looked. I'm waiting for some of the stuff for the Expanse to kind of come out of Kickstarter. I'm getting
Right.
Kickstarter updates from Green Ronin on fifth season because I
Mm.
am a backer for that.
Yeah.
It's backer kit. Sorry, I
Yep.
shouldn't say
Yep. Yep.
backer.
Yep. Yep.
I'm a backer for that. But that's really all that
I
I've looked at for the holiday. I think the only other thing I did
that's
show
all.
you
Yeah.
that was a purchase was the collector's edition Hobbit that I picked up.
Oh,
That was on
you
sale.
did get it.
I did.
Oh, see, that is that is gorgeous. That is an even seemingly more
So no,
beautiful printing
so no,
than
I have the three. I have the Hobbit, I
you
have
got the
Lord of the Rings,
Silmarillion as well?
and I have the Silmarillion. Yes.
Okay. Oh,
So
that's just cool. I
I did look at Free League, and there's one book I'm missing from the One Ring.
okay.
Um, but it wasn't on sale or anything, and just not yet for me. So
In RPG wise, before I transition like to what's on my table, the only gaming thing I what comes to mind is I backed the Kickstarter for the Terry Pratchett Discworld RPG.
you
We've talked a
did.
little. I told you that, didn't I?
I
It,
don't think you told me you actually did.
I probably sent you a text. There hasn't been. It's there. I wait, didn't I? Wait, hold on.
I don't
Maybe
think
I
you told me
didn't.
you backed it.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't. I've been following it vociferously. I want them to take my money. Sorry. Different. So I didn't back that because I was looking and it's like, well, I don't backing the Kickstarter, I don't get anything in addition to what I would plan to buy regardless. Like when that comes out, I will almost certainly just buy
Oh,
the
you'll get
core
it.
rule book. Yeah, that one is too interesting to me. Okay, so what's on my table as we sit here over tea at Loon Cafe? Um, so there are a few different things on my mind right now. There's some Star Wars stuff, but I'm not going to bring that up right now. Um, we'll talk more about that online. I will simply say, so far, I'm truly enjoying
You have
Skeleton
to.
Crew.
I was just gonna say you
Yeah.
have to at least
Oh,
tease
oh
and
yeah.
say. I think you
Um,
posted. What did you think of the first two episodes?
so as we record, the first two are out.
Yes.
Uh, I enjoyed them. Were they great? No. Did I truly enjoy them in the creativity? Yes. So, I can't say more yet. And this isn't me just being like, oh, it's new Star Wars. It really is like Goonies in space in the best way possible. And the visuals, the locations, all of that are are just absolutely gorgeous. They're pushing the CGI in a few points. But look, it's Star Wars. That's what they do. Anyways,
Mhm.
I'm not going to get into that.
Mhm.
As we record, not a sufficient number of episodes have been released to really judge it. Um, 3 or 4 episodes in of the 8, I'll make more of a determination.
It's
Like
hard to do at
once
just two.
it is, yeah, once it really hits, like basically the first two were basically just one slightly longer intro episode, and it was a great intro episode.
Yeah.
We'll see how this evens out now that the pieces are getting in place. Here's what you might find more curious and on my desk, and I think it jibes better with our theme for this
Hmm.
episode. But total candor. So absolute candor, you might say.
Oh,
Um, so you and Aaron and Brian indulged me recently to play one shot of Star Trek Adventures 2E. I don't know what you guys thought. I had a ball, but I always do. I developed, I developed just sufficient backstory relying on a station I had already designed, actually literally designed, like built, as the
but I told you
backdrop.
from the outset, you once you when you design that, it should
Yeah.
be used as,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh
we
yeah.
when we design. I think of it, and not to interrupt you, but I when we've been designing our ships and everything else,
These aren't one shots, right?
I think we should be designing these with the idea that as we game, we should bring life to these things with multiple stories.
100%. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
very well said. And so that's what we did. This is essentially a roughly concurrent thread to our uh currently derelict but otherwise ongoing
Hmm.
STA game. But in retrospect, as I've been thinking about it, um I have never, and I mean this like going back to when I learned to play, going back to 2016 when I got back into this, and I GM'd for you guys, whether it was Edge of the Empire, D&D, what, Edge of the Empire, D&D, STA, STA 2E. I don't think I've GM'd anything else. Uh, I have never been satisfied with any adventure I've ever developed. Not even close. I really like some of the concepts. You're jiving aside the other night about, oh, there are androids. Yeah,
I wasn't
fair.
gonna say, you know me.
Yeah,
I was,
fair. No, totally guilty. Guilty as
Mhm.
charged. I mean, I have my themes, right?
But
Uh,
that's fine.
yeah, right.
I'm joking
But
in the context of the
yeah,
story at that point,
no,
but
no,
we
I know.
know that there's a
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, and so, maybe hopefully we'll get the chance for another few sessions in that line because there are places to go. But
Well, I
I
don't think we're even close to being done with that adventure.
well, I designed it as a one shot, but hopefully we'll be able to play more in it
I
because
think we
like
should.
I want to leave an Acreon station and like you
I
guys
think
have stuff to do.
my character, Kyvor, who is a Klingon commander, I designed that character with the purpose that
Yeah, I could tell. You put a lot of thought into that character.
I want to use him more than just for a one shot.
Yeah, well,
Because I
beautiful.
want to play a
Plan on.
Klingon
Yeah, it's so cool.
on purpose because I've never played.
No.
I mean, I've always played Starfleet characters, and I wanted to do something different.
Yeah.
So,
Well, so toward that end, so here's what's been on my mind. So and what got me thinking about this actually was your comment shortly ago about using starter sets.
mhm.
So I recently read the campaign guide in the STA2E starter set. Right, I
Mhm.
just want to read it to get more, like to learn Chewie a little better, et cetera, et cetera. And I really enjoyed that. But here's the thing, I've never ever been satisfied with any adventure I've designed. I've also never been satisfied with any adventure I've read. I've liked several quite a bit, but not satisfied. And what I'm thinking is for maybe some upcoming sessions, and maybe it'll just be a continuation of what we just played. I'm thinking of finding a short campaign, maybe one of the starters, whatever, and then reading through it and revising elements to my liking,
I think you should.
and then trying that, right? Iterating on something strong, for us. And
Yes.
kind of think I want to try that.
I think you should. Um, because I mean, I'll be quite honest with you. I think we've been lucky because we have, as a podcast and as two individuals, we've been able to see in some ways, and anyone who has listened to us
Yeah.
and listened to Jim Johnson and Michael and Al and other folks who have been guests
Yeah.
who have been on
Yeah.
and have talked with us.
And
Um,
not just STA, right?
no,
D&D, Pathfinder, all of
but
these.
I'm talking STA just in terms
Okay.
of like the sausage making behind it. I think there's the culture there where they're like, here's the adventures, but
Yeah.
if you want to
Yeah.
take them
Well
and run
said.
with them, do
Yep.
it.
True. True.
So, you know, you've got and this is where it is probably general for but especially just because we know a lot of the people, whether
Hmm.
it be because of what we've done with this podcast or whether it's because of other work we're doing where some of these folks are now involved in the
Yeah.
anthology,
Yeah.
like Kelly Kirkpatrick,
Yep.
who wrote for Shackleton. We
Yep.
had
Yep.
her on the show.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Um, you know, they're all writers. So I think they all would love the idea of you taking something and running with it. And then even going back and saying, hey, I mean, we've heard them talk
Yeah,
about
that's a
it
good
on,
point. That's a good idea.
and then going back and saying, hey, I took your adventure and this is what I did with it. I think if you went
Yeah.
back and even did like a post-mortem with them and say, here, just so you know, I took your adventure and this is what I did
And this is what
differently.
happened with our game.
I think they'd
Yeah,
love
that's
something
kind
like
of
that.
cool.
And I shouldn't speak for them, but I would think they'd probably find that interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
The only thing generalized, independent of your story, that I have yet to do, and I honestly have, if I have a regret in 2024, I have a lot of regrets. No, I don't. But one thing I do need to do in 2025 is set something up so you can actually play and not GM. You have wanted to play
Oh, we will.
STA.
We've
I
gone
know
back
that.
and forth.
Yes, I know, but I promised you that. And I haven't come through on that. You have come through as the GM. We did some 1E. I GM'd on 1E. I haven't GM'd yet in 2E.
That's right. Yeah.
Um,
And you designed Homeland. I mean
and
you
I'm and I've
and then its successor and
and I've got and I didn't talk about it on this episode, and I haven't talked about it with you lately,
no.
only because it's 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 in skunk works right now, but there has been some pretty hefty progress made with
Oh,
our
excellent.
um GURPS,
Nice.
my GURPS world
That's
for
right.
when it comes
Mm,
along. So don't think that that's been sitting there. That actually,
excellent.
because um my writing assignment for you at the moment
Yeah.
is is completed,
It's done.
is done.
Yeah.
Um, waiting for any potential future changes that I might or edits I might need to make.
Oh, right. Yep.
Coming from the
Yeah,
publisher.
we'll see how peer review goes. Yep.
Yep. But beyond that, I've had time. You and I have talked about some other things that I might do from a writing perspective. But one of the things that I said, because I'm not a natural writer. So I have to focus. I can't write multiple things at once. I don't have that skill set.
Yeah.
So I've been
Yeah.
focusing on the GURPS thing, GURPS world. I'm calling it GURPS world for lack of a better term right now. That's been my focus. And so come early 2025, once we get through and if once you need a break on STA, GMing, then we can use a little time and dive into that. So,
I look forward to it.
but we'll get there. We'll
All
get
right,
there.
everybody. You know the deal, and we really emphatically mean it this week. Uh hang in there, play, role play with one another, sit around the warmth of the dice tray, as Brad said.
Oh, and
And
just as a little bit,
uh-oh.
what do you call it? What do they call it? An Easter egg? Hey, Colstead, original BSG's better.
Oh, here we go. All right, everybody. Be well, stay well. We will see you in a couple of weeks.